There is a man right now, probably someone you know, who is not particularly impressive on paper, not the most successful, not the best looking, not the one who tries the hardest. And yet women cannot stop looking at him, cannot stop thinking about him, cannot explain even to themselves why he occupies their minds the way he does. By the end of this video, you will know exactly why. And you will realize that what he has is not luck, not genetics, and not money. It is three specific learnable attitudes that trigger something so deep inside the female brain that her conscious mind has absolutely no defense against it. Stay with me, because the third one is going to reframe everything you thought you understood about desire. Let us get into it right now. The first attitude, the man who does not flinch. Picture two men walking into the same social event. Same age, similar appearance, similar background. Both of them spot a woman they are genuinely drawn to across the room. Both of them approach her. The first man, the moment he gets close, does something invisible, something he is not aware of, something that takes less than 30 seconds to appear and that she will feel before he has finished his first sentence. His voice rises slightly in pitch. His movements become fractionally less fluid. His sentences get shorter, slightly more careful, slightly more edited. He is still smiling. He is still charming, but something underneath all of it has shifted. His nervous system has registered the situation as a threat, and his body is broadcasting that registration to everyone within range. The second man does something different. He approaches, and he is exactly the same person he was on the other side of the room. His voice carries the same weight. His movements have the same ease. He is not performing calm. He simply is calm, not because he does not find her attractive, because his nervous system does not classify attractive women as threats. She can tell the difference in under 60 seconds, not consciously. Her body tells her. Here is the science behind why this matters more than almost anything else a man can do in an initial interaction. Research from the University of Abertay Dundee measured cortisol levels in men and directly correlated them with female attractiveness ratings. Cortisol is the body's primary stress hormone. When it rises, it produces microsignals visible in behavior. Subtle tension in the jaw, slight changes in vocal quality, the specific restlessness of a nervous system running on high alert. Women detected these signals below conscious awareness and consistently rated high cortisol men as significantly less attractive, less masculine, and less desirable as partners. The same research found something that most people never talk about. Testosterone levels had a far weaker relationship with attractiveness ratings than cortisol did, which means the thing she is actually reading is not how powerful he looks. It is how regulated he feels, how settled he is inside his own nervous system in a situation that destabilizes most men. Now, here is the part that makes this specific to older men in a way that younger men simply cannot replicate. Cortisol regulation is not a skill you practice in the gym. It is not something you develop through social technique or rehearsed confidence. It is the physiological byproduct of having been through enough genuinely high stakes situations that your nervous system learned over years and failures and recoveries that the presence of a beautiful woman, the possibility of rejection, the uncertainty of a charged interaction is not a threat your survival depends on. Younger men have not built this yet. They cannot build it on a timeline shorter than the one life provides. But the man who has been through real things, who has learned that he can survive disappointment and loss and the worst case scenario of a charged moment, that man walks into every interaction carrying something in his physiology that her nervous system recognizes as rare before he has said a single word. She does not think, this man has low cortisol. She feels there is something about him, something she cannot name, something that keeps pulling her attention back to him even when she is trying to pay attention to something else. That pull is not chemistry. That pull is her biology responding to a specific signal it was designed to prioritize. The signal of a man whose nervous system is genuinely, physiologically at home in the world. The question I want you to sit with before we get to the second attitude is this. Think about the last interaction you had with a woman you found genuinely attractive. Where was your nervous system? Because whatever answer comes up, it is the exact thing she was reading in the first 60 seconds. And what comes next is going to show you something about the gap between what most men are doing and what she is actually responding to that will make the second attitude feel like the missing piece you have been looking for. The second attitude, the man who does not ask for permission. There is a study from Wayne State University that I need to walk you through carefully because the implications of it extend far beyond what the headline version usually captures. Researchers placed pairs of men in a room with an attractive woman for 7 minutes and measured their testosterone levels before and after. They tracked specific behaviors during the interaction, and what they found was not what most people expect. The men whose testosterone was higher displayed a consistent behavioral cluster. They did not defer. They did not ask whether their opinions were acceptable before offering them. They took natural control of conversational direction without aggression or performance. They held positions when challenged instead of softening them to avoid friction. They occupied the interaction rather than navigating it. The women consistently reported a stronger sense of connection with these men. Not attraction to their opinions, not agreement with their positions. Connection. The specific physical sense of something clicking that women describe when they talk about feeling drawn to a man in a way they cannot fully explain. Now, here is what this looks like in practice. Because most men, when they hear the word assertive, picture aggression. That is not what the research describes. Let me give you two versions of the same moment. A woman says she loves a particular city. The first man says, "Oh, really? I've heard great things. What do you love about it?" He is warm. He is interested. He is also invisible. He entered her frame and began exploring it on her terms. The second man says, "I spent a week there once, spent most of it completely lost, and somehow loved it anyway." He brought himself into the conversation. He did not ask permission to have an experience that differed from hers. He occupied the moment rather than deferring to it. She will remember the second man, not because his response was more interesting, because she felt something in it that the first response did not produce. She felt a person, someone whose inner world was present in the conversation rather than subordinated to hers. But here is where this gets deeper. And this is the thing most versions of this conversation never say. Researchers distinguished between two types of male status that produce two completely different responses in women. The first is dominance, raw displays of power, aggression, control. This produces short-term attraction but long-term repulsion. The second is prestige, the specific quality of a man who has clearly built something real, whose competence is evident, whose direction is visible, whose life communicates through its ordinary details that this man knows what he is doing and where he is going. For long-term desire, for the kind of attraction that does not fade with familiarity but deepens with it, prestige is the only thing that sustains it. And prestige is something that accumulates. It cannot be performed convincingly by a man who does not have it. She reads it in how he talks about his work, in how he makes decisions without visible anxiety, in the specific way his life has a shape rather than simply a series of days. The older man who has built genuine prestige, who has accumulated real competence and real direction over real years, carries something in how he moves through ordinary interactions that her system reads as extraordinarily attractive. Not because he is powerful, because he is real, because what he projects and what he is have finally, after years of work, become the same thing. Now, before I give you the third attitude, I need to warn you. What comes next is going to feel like it contradicts everything I just told you about assertiveness and prestige. It is going to feel like the opposite of confidence. And it is, without question, the most powerful of the three. Because it works not in spite of the first two attitudes. It works because of them. And the way it works is going to explain something you have probably witnessed in your own life without ever being able to fully account for it. The third attitude, the man who might not choose her. I want to describe a scene. You have probably lived a version of it. A man and a woman have been in each other's orbit for a few weeks. He is clearly interested. He is warm, available, responsive. He makes his interest plain. He is consistent, and she is comfortable with him. She enjoys his company. She appreciates his attention, but she does not think about him when he is not around. She does not feel that specific pull. He is pleasant. He is not compelling. Now change one thing about that scenario. Change only this. He has something else going on, not a fabricated something, a real something, a project he is absorbed in, a life that is visibly moving in a direction, evenings he is genuinely unavailable for because something else has his attention. And crucially, he does not apologize for any of it. He is just as warm when he is present. But his presence is not guaranteed the way it was before. Her behavior changes, not because he has become a different person, because her dopamine system has received new information. Neuroscience has documented this pattern extensively in the study of reward processing. The dopamine system does not activate most powerfully when a reward is received. It activates most powerfully when a reward is possible but not certain. The anticipation of something uncertain produces more neurological drive than the receipt of something guaranteed, which means a man whose level of interest and availability is not fully mappable does not just interest her slightly more. He activates a fundamentally different neurochemical response, the one associated with wanting rather than having. And wanting at the neurological level is significantly more powerful than having. But there is something even more specific happening here that the dopamine research alone does not fully capture. There is a documented phenomenon in behavioral science called mate copying. When a woman observes that other women find a specific man desirable, her evaluation of him increases significantly, even if she had no prior strong opinion about him. The mechanism operates below conscious awareness. She is not thinking, other women like him, therefore I should. Her system is doing something older and more automatic than that. It is inferring from the evidence of other female attention qualities in him that are not directly observable, qualities that other women's interest has already validated, and the inference happens automatically before any deliberate evaluation. What this means in practice is that the man who moves easily through the world with natural, comfortable relationships with women, not romantically, simply with the ease of someone who has never had a difficult relationship with the female world, broadcasts a signal she cannot ignore and cannot entirely explain. She sees how other women are around him, the ease, the warmth, the specific quality of women being genuinely comfortable in his presence. And her system immediately begins running an upward revision of who he is. Now, combine these two things: the dopamine activation of genuine uncertainty about his level of interest, and the mate copying response to a man who is visibly chosen by the female world around him. The combination produces something that is almost neurochemically impossible to resist. Here is what this looks like in real life, not as a strategy, as the natural expression of a man who has built a real life. He has work he is genuinely absorbed in. When she asks him what he is doing on a specific evening, the honest answer is sometimes something that matters to me more than managing your access to my attention. He does not say it that way. He simply has somewhere to be. He has friendships with women that are easy and natural and in no way organized around romantic availability. He does not monitor how much interest to show because his interest is real, but his life is full enough that the interest exists within a larger context rather than consuming it. She cannot fully map him. Every time she thinks she has established where his attention is, some evidence appears that it is also somewhere else, somewhere legitimate, somewhere that has nothing to do with her. And that unmappability does not frustrate her in the way she expected frustration to feel. It produces something closer to fascination. The specific, slightly uncomfortable, deeply compelling fascination of a person who is genuinely not sure they have the full picture yet. And here's the thing that I need to say directly because it contains the most important truth in this entire video. None of this is a game. None of it is manufactured. The man I am describing is not strategically making himself unavailable to create an effect. He is genuinely fully alive inside his own life. He has real work, real friendships, real direction. The uncertainty she experiences is not something he constructed. It is the natural byproduct of a man who was already somebody before she arrived. And that, ultimately, is what makes this attitude the most powerful of the three. Because she has been around enough men who perform these qualities to know immediately when one is not performing them. The man who manufactures unavailability is visible. The man who simply has somewhere to be is unmistakable. Her system knows the difference within a single interaction and responds accordingly. The first attitude, the physiological calm that her nervous system reads as genuine security, tells her that this man is not going to collapse under pressure. The second attitude, the assertive prestige of a man who has built something real and moves through the world from that foundation, tells her that this man is going somewhere worth following. The third attitude, the genuine fullness of a life that makes his attention valuable because it is not endlessly available, tells her that being chosen by this man means something because he is clearly someone who could be elsewhere. Three attitudes, each one rooted in something the research documents clearly. each one the natural expression of a man who has done the real internal work of becoming someone whose life is genuinely, irreversibly full, not full of performance, full of reality. You cannot borrow these qualities for a single evening. You cannot deploy them strategically for an interaction and set them down afterward. They are either who you are or they are who you are becoming. And the path to becoming is not a technique. It is the decision made in the private moments that define a man's actual character far more than any public moment ever could, to build something real, to pursue the work that actually matters to you, to stop managing your life for an audience and start living it for the person you are when no one is watching. That man, the one who is calm under pressure, who moves through the world from genuine competence and direction, whose attention carries weight because his life is full enough that giving it costs something, that man does not need to understand female psychology. Female psychology understands him. It has been designed to recognize him for longer than language has existed to describe what happens when he walks into a room. He is what you have always been building toward, not despite your age. Because of it, subscribe to this channel right now because this is where we bring the actual science, the real research, the complete unfiltered truth about what drives female attraction at the biological level that most channels are not willing to go near. Like this video and share it with someone who is still trying to figure out why effort alone was never enough. Because the answer was never in the effort, it was always in the man the effort was building. And the next video goes even deeper. Do not miss it.